Hey everybody, how's it going? Today, Denny and I are going to do an installation video on some auxiliary lights from a company called Motolight. These lights are designed to be mounted down low on the front calipers. They're made of an aluminum body and are available in polished, brushed, gloss black, or black powder coat. You have the option of either a high output LED light or an amber LED light. These lights are used by numerous law enforcement agencies around the United States. Let's take a look and see it comes in the box from Motolight and get started with the installation. In the box from Motolight, you get your lights. Like I said, Denny and I decided to go with a gloss black finish with high intensity LED lights. You get mounting blocks, spacers, and replacement caliper bolts. Denny and I sent our spacers and caliper bolts off to get powder coated so everything matched in a gloss black finish. You get your wiring harness, a bag of accessories and supplies, and in that bag is a rocker switch if you want the ability to turn your lights on or off. The lights are designed to be hot, straight to the battery, and when you turn the ignition on, your lights come on. There's also a wiring harness for FLH models that it plugs into an accessory port and gives you the ability to have an on-off switch up on the dash, just like the limited models do for their run pass lamps. And that's what Denny and I are going to be installing today. We've already got our seat, our left side saddlebag, and left side cover off. The next thing we need to do is we're going to pull our main fuse. And now with our main fuse removed, we're going to undo the battery tray and then undo the leads to our battery. Our battery tray is a T40. With the bolts from the battery tray removed, now we're going to start undoing all the electrical hookups on top of the battery so that we can gain access to our positive and negative leads. One of the things I like to do is take just a small bungee cord around here and hook it out of the way. That way I don't have to wrestle with it. Now with the cables done out of our way, we can remove the battery tray. Next, we're going to undo our positive and negative leads. Now with our battery completely disconnected, we need to get our fuel tank off. Our fuel tank has 2 bolts in the rear, 2 up front, 1 on each side, and those are also T40s. Our ones up front just have this rubber boot on top of them. Just pull that off and set it out of the way. I need to undo my vent line and my overflow line for my gas tank. The bottom screw down here is a T27. And then the top little screw up here is a 5/32. Remove my gas cap to get it out of the way. And then lift my console up. And undo my vent hose. And I don't know if you guys can see it. Move the camera a little bit. And then undo my overflow hose and get that out of the way. Then I'm going to put my gas cap back on. And now all I have to do is undo my fuel line. I like to have a reg with me. It's a simple push up and it comes loose and a little gas might squirt out, but that's it. And now I'm just going to lift my tank out of the way to get ready to install the auxiliary lights. I need to remove the upper caliper bolt. It's a 10mm. To assemble the lights for install, the first thing we need to look at is our mounting block, and we need to make sure that the two holes are up because that's where our bolts are going to go in. And then on the back side, we're going to have our washer or spacer. And then we've got our opening for our pinch bolt, and then the opening that we're going to run our cable through and also clamp down on the light. Once it's assembled, the pinch bolt and this gap need to be facing down and to the rear. Motolight recommends putting anti-seize on the base of the light here. One, obviously to keep it from seizing up over time, and the other is to help with the install. So we're going to take the end of our cable where we have the black and white wire, and we're going to slide those through the groove and then feed the rest of our cable through. We need to get this entire rubber gasket all the way through, like that. This is the way the bracket's going to go on, and then once we have the bracket on, we're going to rotate the light 90 degrees forward. So I'm going to put my pinch bolt in and get it just started a little bit, just so it's in there. And it's a 3/16 hex. Next thing is going to be my replacement bolt and lock washer. And then my spacer. And I'm going to attach that to the caliper. And it's a 3/16 hex. I'm just going to snug it up a little bit. And we have the left side in. I'll get the right side done, and then we'll go through putting the harness together. So like I said, we decided to go with the 𝗤𝗡 harness. We've got this end here with the 2 connectors that's going to go to the lights. We've got our 2 red positive wires, one going to the battery. It goes to a fuse, to a relay, and then from the relay also we have our negative, and then coming out of the relay is our connector to go to the auxiliary connector on this side, which is P&A connector 4, which goes to the switch on the dash, which is, it's the center switch. So all we have to do is disconnect this, pull this little plug off, and then put our connector in. And then from there, it's just a matter of running our wiring and then hooking in to the battery. I'm going to remove this upper bolt on the caddy so that I can run the wiring harness behind it and then get it to go up the wishbone to the front of the bike. Now, if you're like me and you got a whole bunch of accessories hooked to your battery, then you got a whole bunch of cable here to wrestle with. I'm going to feed all my cable up so I know I have enough up there. And then I'm also going to feed up my negative cable and my positive. And then I still have my connection down here to the auxiliary port. And by doing this, I can leave my relay and my fuse protected underneath the left side caddy. Okay, I'll go ahead and get my bolt put back in. Go ahead and get my bolt put back in. Now I'm going to run my harness along the wishbone and I'll secure it in place with zip ties. So since we're doing a switch up here, I've got to take this dash off to gain access to this switch pack to put another switch in, since these two are nothing but dummies. To do that, there's a T27, or correction, T25 on each side that you take out. And then I'm going to move the camera a little bit here so everybody can see it, or at least I'll try to get seen. When you pull this off, I don't know if you can see it, the switch is right back here, and it's just a connector like that. And then even though the other side is a dummy, because you can put switches there, there's a harness also. here's our switches on our left side, and here's a switch pack. And then this is just a dummy. And if you wanted to get a wiring harness to hook up other auxiliary devices to the right side, you could do that. Now, if you have a limited already, whether it be a Road Glide limited or an ultra limited, this switch pack will work to hook a switch into to control these lights. If you do not, if you're on a street glide or a road glide, you have to go buy a switch pack from Harley that will allow you to put these switches in. To put a new switch in, I've got to remove this switch pack. As you can see, this is how it sits on my bike. There's the switch for the passing lamp. So I'm going to remove this switch pack and take out the middle dummy and replace it for another switch. These are T27 screws. Okay, so to take out the dummy, all I have to do is pull on this little tab. Pulls back like that, and the dummy will come out. And I'm putting another switch in that is going to be another lamp switch, just like the stock for the limited. And that's part number, if anybody's wondering, part number 714-00044. So now to put that in, you can see we have little grooves here. And there's little grooves here. They're just going to line up. It goes in, press it down all the way, and push that little pin back in. And now I've got it in there. So now I'll go ahead and take and put my switch pack in and replace the screws. As I always say, remember, you're just screwing into plastic, so you don't have to crank it down too hard. So go put this back in place. I just won't secure it. I'll hook the wiring harness back up. I've got my console. I'm going to start on this side, get that one clipped in, and then I'm going to get that one clipped in, and I'll rotate it in position. Get those little tabs married up. So now all I have to do is, once we test this, is just put the screws on and tighten them up. Now I'm going to route my cable up along the brake line and secure it in place with zip ties. So I have the connections for my lights here. I've got my harness with its two connections. I'm going to go ahead and get these connected together and then secure the cables. And then we'll start putting everything back together. We've got everything put back together, not torqued down though. I'm going to go ahead and turn power on. We've got power on, we've got power to all the lights that we normally do, and now I'm going to go ahead and press the switch for the new lights. So now it's a matter of getting everything torqued down, and then we got to aim the lights. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything torqued down, and then we'll go over the aiming process. We've torqued everything down. We've torqued the bracket to the caliper. What we need to do now is aim the light. Motolight says what we want to do is we want to take a level, put it on the front of the light, And then we want to rotate it to a slightly downward bubble. And so it says you want a down angle of 87 degrees on a digital level. And then tighten up the pinch bolt. Denny and I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I'll leave links to everything down in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel. We're trying to grow, and the only way we can do that is with your help. If you have any questions or comments for us, feel free to email us. Our email address is down in the comments. And until next time, everybody be safe and keep two wheels on the ground.